Thanks very much for... That sounded really sarcastic. Thanks very much. Even worse. Anyway, thanks very much for tuning in to my little video about the AURALiC Aries G1. It's obviously a streaming transport, which just means it sends music from where it originates to your DAC. And a DAC is obviously a digital to analog converter, just like this Chord Qutest we have, which on the back you'll see just has the digital inputs here and then analog outputs to your preamp or integrated amp or whatever. So the Aries G1 passes on Bluetooth music, AirPlay, music off your NAS drive, your network attached storage drive, which plugs into your router, and then you plug another Ethernet into your G1, your streamer. Also streaming services, so in this device Qobuz, Tidal, Spotify Connect and Apple Music, and sending all of those streams of music to your DAC. It also takes Roon streams, so that's where you use a Roon server and music is sent via the Roon interface to your Roon ready streamer, and that means a streamer that can take the full resolution, full high resolution protocols that the Roon RAT supplies. If you want to go on my website, you can check out a all-encompassing review about Roon, and if you're a newbie, it gives you a lowdown, who it's for, what you need, or how to get started. I've got to be honest and say that the G1 is pretty well made. It's got nice slab aluminium sides and a nice front display. It's not a touchscreen type. You use the buttons around the front fascia to select different options. You can also use AURALiC's Lightning DS app, which is pretty intuitive and well organized. Obviously it's not anywhere near the standards of Roon, but then, you know, we said before, Roon is the market leader really. It's the granddaddy of all apps, I guess. You get a feeling from all of this that it's you know, going to be a good product because it feels fastidiously constructed. I think connections wise it's fairly typical. You've got coaxial, ADS EBU and Toslink optical digital outputs, and then you've got a USB output to your DAC and a synchronous USB output. The other USB input is to turn the G1 into a server. Obviously then an Ethernet socket for fixed connection to your router or router if you're in the US, and then you've got these two Wi-Fi aerials either side. Obviously this is a metal case and the Wi-Fi signals can't permeate the case, hence the need to put them on the outside. Most products are pretty competitive because of the competitive nature of audio, but sometimes they aren't, and when they aren't, I feel I have to say so if they're quite a bit below the competition. You know, otherwise, how can you keep a straight face to someone that's reading a review to say that it's a good product when you know it isn't? It's just not possible. On the positive side, you're going to get a big soundstage and loads of detail. And I also think you can say that this streaming transport neither adds or subtracts from the sound quality. Now, I know that sounds rather cliched, but I think it is pretty true. Another thing to say is that I think you're going to need a DAC well above what you might pair this Aries with to get a decent improvement out of your system. Even into a DAC like a Chord Qutest or an RME ADI2 DAC FS, a streaming transport like the ALU Digi1 Signature is so close to this Aries G1. The differences are just so small, and when you consider the ALU is about a quarter or a fifth the price, you have to factor that into your judgments with these types of DACs. Another thing is that against, say, an Innuos ZENith Mark II that I have, £2,300 to this Aries 1,900, you've got a CD ripper, you've got a solid state hard drive, you've got a rune transport. Also, it works as a great USB digital source. It all adds up to this Aries not really being great value for money. Also, the Innuos has a triple linear power supply to the Aries dual linear power supply. About a couple of years ago, I looked at the original Aries, the LE model, and price has gone from £900 for that model to £1,900 for this one. And whilst I didn't compare them side by side, I can't really go wow and say that there's been a massively appreciable increase in performance between these two models. What AURALiC seem to have done is spent loads of money on the case, which is going to be a substantial part of the cost of this unit, and obviously the front display, but they seem to just have neglected the sound quality element to it. And because sound quality weighs so much at this price, you've got to look at all the other, the opportunity costs of what you can buy elsewhere. It's so important. Another consideration is that DACs tend to be better performing and having lower diminishing returns. Streamers are the opposite. So you could just spend on a better DAC or putting your money into your amplification or your speakers. I actually found that the AURALiC does add to the Innuos if you use it as the room ready endpoint with the Innuos as server, as opposed to just using the Innuos as a server endpoint with its USB output. But the difference is incredibly small to a level where you can forget it. I call it the forget test. If you can forget that difference because it's so small, but the price is a big difference between the two, then I think it makes the point about whether the component is worth it for you. I think if you've got a very good system and a very good DAC, then for the price you might take the view, hang the cost, it's a worthwhile improvement. But if you've got any of the test systems that I'm using this streamer with, or systems of that ilk, and check out the description by the way for the full list of the systems that I've used in this test, then I think you're just going to be disappointed. Again, if you want to find out more about my rationale, read the website article, and in the description below also read my further comments.